Hey guys, how's it going? TJ here with Dead History, and I'm here today with Henry.
Hello.
And today we have a very special Dead History video showing... Wait a minute. What's that building behind us, Henry?
The White House.
That's the White House in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to tell the people today all about our visit and tour of the White House, right?
Yes.
We got some really cool things to tell you about our visit to the White House down in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. Some fun facts to tell the people about the White House. And some really funny story about our trip and the whole fiasco that happened regarding our trip down to Washington, D.C., right? Some good stuff. So here we go. We're going to tell you all about Henry and my visit to the White House, the executive mansion. But first, before we get into it, Henry, what do the people need to do?
And subscribe down below, leave all the comments, questions, drop a like, and hit the bell.
That's right. Hit subscribe down below. Comments, questions, leave them. Like, thumbs up, all that stuff, right? And of course, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when we do release a new video. And Henry, when is it?
Every single week.
Every single week. So here we go. Gonna get into some cool stuff about the White House. And this is
Dead History.
Dead History. Hey guys, TJ back with you, here with Henry. And behind us, the White House. Some very cool things to tell you about the White House. Henry, who was the first president to live at the White House?
John Adams.
Wow, good job, he's right. Did George Washington ever live there?
No.
No, he
It
didn't.
was not built yet.
Wow, good job. Look at you knowing this stuff. Good job, that's very good. What's another fun thing I could ask you? Some fun, interesting White House facts. What about the fact that the cornerstone of the White House is missing? Yeah, the original cornerstone? Yeah, one of the bricks late. They have no idea where it is. No idea. We're going to tell you all about that kind of fun stuff. A lot of fun facts to tell you about the White House during this video. So you did the likes, subscribes, comments, questions, hit the notification bell. Henry, before we get into our fun, awesome, pretty funny trip down to Washington, D.C. and the White House, what do they got to go get now?
Popcorn, pretzels, potato chips, soda.
If you're Ronald Reagan, the jelly beans, right? Ronald Reagan loved his jelly beans.
Doritos.
Yeah, whatever presidential snack you like, go get it. Because here we go, taking a look at our trip to the White House. Dead History. We're looking forward to this one. A lot of people asked us to do a video about this, so here we go. So now sit back, relax, and enjoy. It was Monday, December 5th, 2022. I was sitting at my desk in my office. I received a text from Kurt Dion of kurtzhistoricsites.com. We are confirmed. Henry and I were officially invited to tour and visit the White House on Wednesday, December 21st, 2022 at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The excitement was palpable. We told everyone we knew that we were headed to the White House later in the month. We planned, and then we waited. Finally, the day had arrived. It was Tuesday, December 20th, 2022, and I arrived to pick Henry up shortly after he got home from school off the bus. We were in the car and headed down to Washington, D.C. We arrived in our nation's capital around 7:30 p.m., checking in at the very luxurious, very fancy and bougie Hay Adams Hotel, directly across the street from the White House itself. Only Lafayette Square dividing us. After arrival, Henry and I had reservations to eat dinner at Kaz Sushi Bistro, about half a mile from the Hay Adams Hotel. Even though it was chilly outside, we braved the cold and decided to walk. We sat down to a delicious sushi dinner. This was the life. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was Kurt Dion there on the other line. However, he sounded quite upset and disheartened. Kurt said to me, "I have some bad news." I said, "Okay, what is the bad news?" Kurt replied, "You and I did not notice on the White House passes that we printed out at the time, but the time on them changed to Thursday, December 22nd instead." I exclaimed, "What? Are you serious?" Kurt said, "Yes, but that is not the bad part. President Zelensky from Ukraine is arriving in Washington on a surprise visit, and he is meeting with President Biden at the White House tomorrow. So I just received an email that all tours for tomorrow are canceled." My heart sank. Henry's sitting next to me enjoying his sushi dinner, looking over at me now, clearly sensing some sort of emotions. I hung up with Kurt and I told Henry the news. We were disappointed and saddened. We finished dinner and decided to Uber back to our hotel. We got back to our hotel. A very nice concierge invited Henry and I to go up to the roof of the Hay Adams Hotel and enjoy the views. And what a view it was! Washington, D.C. and all its history. The beauty of it all. There it sat, right in front of us. Its lights shining in the cold darkness. The White House. So close, yet so far away. It was time for bed. Before calling it a night, Kurt had informed me that they had changed our tour time about 5 times in an hour's time. Thursday at 1, Thursday at 10, Thursday at noon. Finally, it landed on Friday, December 23rd at 10:30 a.m. Good night. Wednesday, December 21st, we woke in Washington. We made the best of it. We took in some sights around the city and headed back to New Jersey. An idea came across my mind. The light bulb went off. Maybe we could still do this on Friday. Friday morning came, and Henry and I left New Jersey by 5:30 a.m. We got down to Washington, D.C. by 9 a.m. or so. We were prepared. I had reserved a parking garage spot only about 3 or 4 blocks from the White House Visitor Center. There was a bad storm pounding the northeast. It was raining, not pouring, and about 45 degrees or so in Washington, D.C. on this Friday morning. Henry and I started the few-minute walk toward the Visitor Center. We had an umbrella. Within a block or so, huge gusts of wind had turned our umbrella inside out and broke it. There goes that idea. It was okay, though. We moved ahead, like Washington crossing the Delaware on Christmas night in 1776. The weather and elements would not deter us. As we got closer and closer to our destination, I, who am rarely a cold person, was now experiencing a very frigid head. My bald head had no hat upon it, so the cold rain and wind were pelting my dome. Henry, on the other hand, was warm and doing well. He had a sock hat on and all, fully equipped. The White House Visitor Center was in sight. We could see the line outside awaiting to get inside. Also, to warmth, restrooms, and a little break from the weather. Keep in mind, this was only a few blocks. Uh-oh! Just then I realized I messed up. I looked at Henry and said, "Dad did a stupid thing. I messed up." Henry looked up at me with an exasperated tone to his voice and said,
What did you do?
I said, "I forgot our printed out White House tour passes in our car. back in the garage.
What?
It was now about 9:30 a.m. or so. Time, weather, simple irritation were all factors on returning to our vehicle to retrieve said passes. Okay, I got a plan. Let's wait in the line to get inside the visitor center, go in, get warm, use the restroom, and then we can Uber back to the parking garage, get our passes, and then Uber back to where we need to enter the White House tour area. That area happened to be right across the street from the visitor center itself. This is what we did. Stopping in the visitor center gift shop to purchase a new umbrella and presidential sock hat for my bald head. Passes in hand, sock hats on heads, umbrella ready to go. We were now back at the area where we needed to check in for our White House tour. Good thing we bought that hat for myself and the umbrella. The line was about a city block long and outside. We stood in the line, umbrella opened, the wind and rain coming down, the temperature dropping, which seemed like by the minute. Finally, we were at the front of the line and a park ranger said, "Passes, please." We showed him our well-earned passes and we were in. He guided us to move forward and head toward the next security checkpoint. Here we go. We are about to enter the White House. Our incredible tour now begins. Our tour started out as Henry and I entered the White House officially. It starts off in the East Landing, which is on the first floor of the White House. You can see here different portraits that are hung in the East Landing. And I will show you, of course, some photos of our visit, personally, during showing you where we were. So you're at the East Landing, and then you kind of move your way to the East Colonnade. So you kind of move forward. And this, you're going to see here, this, where you're seeing right now on the screen, this is where you're going to see pictures of Henry and I with a beautiful Christmas tree. So that is where the Christmas tree was and all the Christmas decorations. Then when you come in here, the Christmas tree was over here, and right to our right was this statue right here was not there. It was a big bust of Abraham Lincoln. So I'm going to show you that right now. So again, we came in these doors here. This is the East Landing, and we are making our way. This is the beginning and the start of the East Colonnade. Right behind me is where the Christmas trees were, right in this area. So I am going to pause the video here so you can take a look at the pictures that I'm explaining to you. Then, after here, we moved toward the East Colonnade, and we turned down the hall, and here's the East Colonnade. Beautifully decorated for Christmas. You kept moving. There's going to be a picture that you're going to see over by one of these windows that Henry took. Well, I should say I took of Henry. And as you move down the East Colonnade, beautiful photos on the wall of different presidential moments, different things that have happened, presidents meeting with foreign dignitaries and such. And eventually you come to right here, which is the White House Theater, the Family Theater. Now I'm going to take a look inside at this beautiful theater, as you can see here. Pretty remarkable. Seats a lot of people. The Family Theater was originally part of the East Colonnade until Theodore Roosevelt partitioned it as a cloakroom, and FDR converted the room into a theater to view wartime newsreels. Now, you're not allowed in this theater. We were able to stand at the door. You will see our photos here in a minute. So these are all the East Colonnade as we moved our way down toward the East Garden Room. But first, let's take a look at our photos from the theater and the East Colonnade right here now. And as we moved on, we moved down the East Colonnade, and you can see the Abraham Lincoln bust. That was actually at the opposite end of the colonnade. So we did obviously see that. There's already been pictures you've seen of that. Now you're in the East Garden Room. The East Garden Room was pretty cool, has some presidential portraits. There's the East Colonnade that we had come from. Now as you make your way toward basically the end here of the Garden Room, and you turn to your left, you're going to see what is known basically as the ground floor corridor. And the ground floor corridor is pretty cool because there was portraits all over the place. This is actually where the Michelle Obama portrait was. And then you can take a look here in the library. This is actually the presidential library. You're not allowed to step foot in here. There are pictures that you will see that I took inside so you can see, but very, very cool. And then directly across from the library is actually the Vermeil Room. The Vermeil Room was very cool. And you can see here, this is actually where the portrait of Jackie Kennedy is, which is phenomenal. Can't step inside of here, just had to take a picture inside. But you can see here, you're stepping in virtually to the Vermeil Room. Now I'm going to go back out. The library's there. One thing I did, want to make sure I hit up was here. Wait, is it open? I don't know if the doors are open because we do have the China Room as well. Maybe that's a little further down. Yes, it is. No, it's not. They're not showing the China Room. So I'm going to show you photos. I believe it's actually... Oh, wait, I lied. I'm wrong. Here it is right here as I'm searching around for it. This is the China Room. So I'm going to walk into the China Room. Very cool. China all over the place. No, this is still the Vermeil Room. This is still the Vermeil Room. The China Room, for some reason, is not showing any sort of doorway opening. So I apologize for that. But I'm going to show you photos of inside of both the rooms here downstairs. The Vermeil and, of course, the China Room. So take a look. Before we head upstairs, take a look at the China Room, Vermeil Room, and the library here in the ground floor corridor. Now, we're going to head upstairs because that's where they direct you to go. And you head up to the stairs and to the top of the stairs. And we turned right here to the beautiful East Room. This is the East Room of the White House. Wonderful thing about the East Room is there are the portraits of Martha and George Washington. Yes, this is the painting that was saved when the White House was on fire during the War of 1812. This was the photo and the portrait that was saved by Dolly Madison, a very famous story. So this is the beautiful, beautiful, luxurious East Room of the White House, and you're going to see photos here of Henry and I in the East Room. So take a look here of the Now, from the East Room, Henry and I entered right here through this doorway into the Green Room. The Green Room was pretty fun and cool because there was ropes here. So we started off on this side, but then I noticed, hey, there's Grover Cleveland's portrait. So we wanted to come through this door. So basically what we did, there's Calvin Coolidge's portrait. You're going to see some of this in my photos. So we went back out this door, and we just came in through this door so we can get a better look at the Grover Cleveland portrait here in the Green Room. So take a look at our wonderful pictures from the Green Room of the White House. So after the Green Room, we entered through this door right here into the magnificent Blue Room, where this spectacular Christmas tree was right in the middle of the room. So this was really awesome for us. Of course, you have my favorite president's portrait right here, Thomas Jefferson, some other, John Adams, John Tyler, some very, very cool stuff in here. Monroe and Madison are also in here. But the cool thing about this room, beside the fact that it has my favorite presidential portrait, it also has, if you looked out here, you can actually see a beautiful view of the Washington Monument that I'm going to show you here in pictures. And I'm also going to show you, of course, the magnificent Christmas tree that was in the center of the room here of the Blue Room. So here you go, our pictures from the Blue Room. And after the Blue Room, we made our way. Whoop, I didn't want to go this way. I apologize. That was back out to the entrance hall. We're going to get there soon. We actually made our way into the room next door to the Blue Room, which is the Red Room. So the Red Room was very, very beautiful, very nicely decorated. Woodrow Wilson up there. That actually looks like it might be Jimmy Carter. Yes, it is. I don't know if his was there at the time. I think they might have changed that one out. Franklin Pierce, his portrait was definitely there. Whoop, I got you guys all going crazy. So here you go, the Red Room, which was very, very cool, very, very fun to see. And take a look at our photos from the Red Room. from the Red Room, we made our way through this doorway, and then we realized, well, wait a second. We are in the state dining room, and one of Henry's very favorite things to see was, of course, the portrait of his favorite president, Abraham Lincoln. So we stood here in the wonderful, luxurious state dining room, took some photos, and even got the opportunity to take a very short video. So take a look at our visit here to the state dining room. And then after the state dining room, we kind of made our way toward the entrance hall. The entrance hall of the White House, where we came out this doorway and we looked to our right. We said, well, wait a second. There's a guy we wanted to see. The presidential portrait, of course, of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, which was very, very cool, very near and dear to Henry and my heart. So very cool to see. And then we turned around here and saw the presidential portrait of Ronald Reagan. And then as we kind of made our way down this hallway here, we saw some very nice, lovely decorations. I'm sorry, guys. Lovely decorations for Christmas and everything else. And then there was actually some, what appears to be like drums and looked like a piano or drums set up here. So it was very interesting. And then this was all roped off, couldn't go any further here. This doorway was open because that was the exit. And we were able to see, of course, right here was where the portrait of Barack Obama was. Not Teddy Roosevelt. It was actually the portrait of Barack Obama, which was right here. So you're going to see pictures of that and Henry with that. Also pictures here of this doorway that leads to the Blue Room. So you're going to see all that here. Take a look at the entrance hall of the White House right now. So then we actually made our way through these exit doors right here. It doesn't look like I can go any further, but here's the entrance hall. So we exited the obviously the White House, and we took some photos outside and even a video. But please enjoy all the rest of the remaining pictures from our visit. And yeah, it was such a wonderful experience. Something Henry and I will never forget for the rest of our lives, because we literally had most of the place to ourselves. So it was quite spectacular and quite a special, unique tour that Henry and I were able to take part of. So thank you so much, guys. it is. The White House. Henry, go ahead, stand there. Henry and I just did the White House tour. Say hi, Henry. Wave. Pretty cool. What'd you think, Henry?
Nice.
Very cool, right? All right. Hey guys, so how about some fun, interesting facts, some fascinating facts about the White House? So of course, as we said in our opening intro, George Washington never lived in the White House. Don't look for Washington's ghost on your next White House tour, because the mansion was in the city named for Washington, and he had a role in the executive residence's creation. But George passed away in late 1799, about 1 year before John Adams became the first president to live in the building. Very cool. Very, very little of the original White House remains. The British burned the original White House in 1814 after U.S. forces set fire to Canada's Parliament. The famous Gilbert Stuart painting of George Washington was saved by a fleeing Dolly Madison with some help, and some exterior stone walls survived the fire. There was actually a second big fire at the White House. A blaze on Christmas Eve in 1929 gutted parts of the West Wing and the Oval Office during Herbert Hoover's administration. Hoover left a Christmas party to personally direct the firefighting efforts, helped by Ulysses S. Grant III, a city official. Hoover also briefly entered the Oval Office during the fire, but he was whisked away by the Secret Service. The blaze was started by a blocked fireplace flue. Teddy Roosevelt created the West Wing. The West Wing was expanded under William Howard Taft and Franklin D. Roosevelt, but it was Teddy who got the facility built. Thomas Jefferson had started the ball rolling with the idea 100 years earlier, but things take a long time to build in Washington. Teddy had some conservatories leveled and the temporary office building established to be connected to the main White House using a colonnaded gallery. President Taft added the Oval Office to the West Wing. The White House was actually nearly condemned in 1948. President Harry S. Truman was forced out of the White House and lived in the Blair House after officials decided the aging White House was close to collapse. Apparently, the repair budget under the FDR administration was ignored, even as more White House staffers were added to payrolls. In 1948, engineers discovered it was structurally unsound and close to falling down. Truman then spearheaded an extensive renovation and restoration project, which was completed in 1952. There was actually a 1950 attack on the president's house. While Truman was staying at the Blair House, two Puerto Rican nationalists attempted to storm the Blair House and kill Truman while he was napping inside the residence. After a 38-second gun battle, one assailant was dead and a White House police officer was mortally wounded. They were apparently emboldened by the idea that the Blair House was less secure than the White House. The officer who died in the attack fatally shot the assailant as he stood 30 feet from the president's bedroom window. Truman had moved to the window just before the assailant was killed. Pretty interesting stuff. The White House, as we said in our opening intro, is missing its cornerstone. Any anniversary of the White House wouldn't be complete without the story of its missing cornerstone. On that fateful day in October of 1792, a group of Freemasons met at a Georgetown tavern and paraded to the proposed site of the president's mansion. In a ceremony, they placed an inscribed cornerstone to mark the start of the house's construction. Then they marched to an inn and made a toast to the event. And another, and another. In fact, they made 16 toasts. So no one really documented where the stone was. President Truman tried to find the stone during the renovation period, but no one has seen it since 1792. One theory is that it is embedded between two stone walls near the Rose Garden. Some interesting dates in the White House history. In 1800, President John Adams and his wife Abigail moved into the brand new and partially completed White House. In 1833, running water was installed in the White House. In 1879, the first telephone was installed in the White House. In 1891, the White House was wired for electricity. In 1927, a third floor was added to the White House. The White House was designed by James Hoban, an Irish architect who began his stateside career in Philadelphia in 1785. He was not even born in America. He was born in Ireland. So, interesting. He is the architect, of course, of the White House. Always found that pretty fascinating. Let me see. What are some other fun facts about the White House that I can give you before we close out here? Let's see. It needs tons of paint. Just like any other historic house, the White House requires ongoing maintenance to keep it looking fresh. But unlike most other houses, however, the White House requires 570 gallons, which is about 3 tons of white paint to cover the exterior, 300 of which are used just for painting the residence. When the White House was renovated in 1992, more than 30 layers of paint were removed from the exterior walls. It's reported that painting now takes place on a yearly basis, with touch-ups ongoing throughout the year. Of course, it's housed tigers and bears and all sorts of craziness over the years. Crazy presidential pets. I mean, literally. Tigers, cubs, other wild animals. One of my favorites, President Woodrow Wilson. He kept a herd of sheep on the White House front lawn. I always love that. Or I don't know if it's the front lawn, but it was the White House lawn. Always love that. I always find that to be a very funny, fascinating thing. During the early 1800s, it is said that First Lady Abigail Adams hung her laundry in the East Room of the White House. Pretty interesting. And there are also 2 secret doors in the Oval Office designed to blend into the walls. Again, just fun little interesting facts. I'm going to kind of end things here, but I hope you guys enjoyed this fascinating, wonderful look at Henry and my White House tour that we took right towards the end of 2022, right around Christmas time. It was wonderful, fascinating, and something we will never forget. And I hope you enjoyed this journey and this tour with us. So, for now, take care, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye, guys.
This building here is the executive office.
Wow.
The brown one here is the Blair House.
The Blair House. Okay,
Blair
yes.
House, yeah. So at the White House, if you see in every corner of the White House, and right in the middle They have three snipers, one in each corner
Oh yeah.
and one in the middle, 24/7.
Wow.
So we cannot see them, but they see
Yeah,
us.
they see us. Yes.
Yes.
That's pretty something. That's something, huh,
Yep,
bud?
yep, yep, yep.
Yeah.